I assume we're live. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Discover RPG, your afternoon lunch break where we talk about our favorite things about the acronym RPG. I'm changing of slight announcements. I am Angela, this is Logan, and we are directors of Nerdsmith. As such, it's a new year. We got new plans, new exciting things, and one big announcement is that at some point this month we'll be kind of slightly rebranding the Power Hour to be the Nerdsmith Power Hour, so we don't feel quite so limited to only be talking specifically about RPG stuff. Discover RPG will be continuing on in other formats, but this particular hour will be a little broader. How are you doing today, Logan?
We're getting more women on the show?
I mean, yes.
Broader?
We are. I mean, that is technically accurate.
Really bad joke.
But you lucked out because it was technically accurate. So yeah, how you doing today, Logan? How was your break?
How was my break? It was good. It was 3 weeks of expecting to do work and mostly being sick, but I got a lot of rest.
I'd imagine. How you percentage wise, 1 to 100?
I'm at about 80% now.
That's functional.
I got well enough to go to Disneyland, which was awesome. And then it was a gift from Tessa's mother, and we went to Disneyland for a few days.
I saw pictures. You look like you had a good time.
We had a great time. And I got to see Chip and Dale, two of my favorite characters. We did a breakfast with Disney, and it was my sister-in-law. It was her first time in 20 years, and it was her children's first time. So it was just my little niece and nephew, and so it was just really great to see them. Just so excited to be around them, and Mom had us do a little gift exchange, which was amazing. I gave my brother-in-law an image of a sketch of my face from one of the vendors that said "Best brother-in-law ever," and so yeah, it worked out really well.
That's really good. I like it.
You better still have it because I want a photo of it.
Mm-hmm. I need proof of where it's being placed. It must be.
I told him next time I come over to his house, I expect to see it framed on the wall. So we'll see.
My holiday was pretty good. Went to visit family. Had what was probably it was complicated. Probably the first time I had a real vacation in a really long time. But at the same time, I was constantly thinking about work. Because I'm so excited about this year.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about some of the changes we have coming up. I think we're finally starting to understand what it's going to take to make Nerdsmith a really big, a really good success. Something that we're going to be very, very even more
success
proud
by
of.
our personal definitions.
Yeah, I think it's been a success for the last 2 years. The fact that we're still going, the fact that we still have people involved, and we're growing still. I think all that is very successful. What I'd like to be able to do is pay the bills. So that's kind of where we're at. So we
next have level of success that we're defining.
Yeah, we have some new strategies. But honestly, looking at the numbers and going back and seeing the support we've got from people, we're doing really well. I'm actually very impressed. We're leaps and bounds ahead of a lot of other people out there that have been around just as long, if not longer. And so I think we're doing a lot of good things. And I just think that we just need to refine them a little bit better and stay consistent. It's a numbers game. The longer we do it, the more people will reach. That's that. I like the idea of changing this to the Nerdsmith Power Hour and just kind of talking about Nerdsmith stuff and people, and we can still talk about RPGs.
Yeah.
Jinx. We can do whatever we want. But the idea you had, I really liked about the idea of directors possibly doing more of these throughout the week, just randomly, these little power hours, and just sitting down and saying hi and getting to know the directors a little bit better. Being more of an open personality, I think, is a great thing. I'd really like to be out there.
Work parties.
I've been wanting to do work parties for months, so it's just we have been scheduling.
Stream the work parties. Everything is content. And if we stream a work party, we just end up playing Raft. Probably.
I was gonna say, nothing much happens.
Until they do. Until we spend 6 hours.
And then we just highly focus on something. Yes, until we all of our brains stick up.
It's almost like you could diagnose something like that.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I had a really good break. I was in, got to continue being a giant dork, and I guested along with my husband Andy on another stream. A friend of the network, Zach Meow is his
Meow.
username,
Zach
but
Meow.
the channel on Twitch is Kill TV. They run a D&D game every Sunday called Loaded Jokers, and they are a delightful group of people. They all play in person, so I actually got to play at a table. And Andy and I previously had guested on their show. Man, it seems like it was so long ago, but it was only September.
I was gonna say it was only a few months ago.
Yeah, so we during Dragon Con we guested on their show, where we played a pair of dastardly villains who were specifically designed to betray the party and to eventually get murdered by them by picking a fight, and we played our role beautifully. But this time we decided, okay, we don't want to play bad guys. We're gonna just goof off and be a bunch of chuckle fucks. And so Andy and I, almost immediately after we left the first game, we came up with the concept for our second guesting appearance. We played a pair of bosom friends, in more ways than one, you will understand in a moment. Bjorn and Jaeger, who had Cockney British accents and were just a couple of dum-dums who wanted to be heroes. And Bjorn has the mounted combatant feat, because he is inside a harness on Jaeger's chest. He has a halberd. And he just like hits things that get near Jaeger, and Jaeger is a wizard, and he just throws magic, and so they're a package deal. The very implication that that during combat Bjorn would hop off was met with complete blank stares. Like that's not how they work.
I love it.
We had a beautiful time. We took 2 miniatures that Zach had and scotch taped them together so that when we went
nice.
And it was such a fun time. We had only the slightest slog of an episode, just because there was a lot of puzzles and splitting the party and like trying to figure out how to do stuff, which happens. But we had such a good time. It was an absolute pleasure to hang out with them again. I'm sure we will do it again, and we will probably play Bjorn and Jaeger again because we were delightful. We got some magic items that were really cool. Bjorn is a fighter who does strength, but he has an 8 strength. He just happened to get a belt of giant strength as an heirloom from his family, and so everyone who's in his family that wants to be a hero, like, they don't have to work out, they just get to train and they're fine.
I like that.
So yeah, I very much enjoyed playing him. He sounded a lot like 3 other characters that I play. High-pitched Cockney accent, very Raffata, but a bit more noble-hearted, trying to be a hero. And yeah, so we helped out a party, and Zach did a beautiful job. It was really entrancing watching him narrate at some points. He had a moment. We got to experience a moment, apparently, that he had planned for 2 years. And he narrated a character wearing these magic gauntlets from these twin fire giant gods of the forge, and she had these gauntlets, and we were facing magma that was just like, you could go through it. It was like force fielded, but we had to assemble a magical device in the fire of this volcano, and it's lava. You can't just shove your face in. And so she had these gauntlets, which were the one thing that would allow you to press in and protect you from the lava. And so she like assembled this, it was like a gauntlet of Mystra, and she assembled it inside the lava, and Zach did this beautiful job of just like narrating how the heat felt, and that, you know, basically he took over the character for the purposes of this very poetic moment of, you know, you push into the lava
Cutscene.
and the heat's there, and you sit and you take a breath and you push further. Like, it was beautifully done. He did a really great job with it.
That's awesome.
One of the other characters said, "Oh, no, I'll try it," and he just shoved his hand in, and yeah, Zach started rolling.
Nice.
His hand out.
26 around is my understanding.
Apparently this is the second time in a very short amount of time he'd lost his hand. He has a ring of regeneration, so he seems to have a very low sense of self-preservation.
Yeah, but
he had a baby hand.
It still hurts.
He had a baby hand for a little while it grew back. It was very Deadpool. But yeah, they were delightful, and that was one of the highlights of my holiday.
That's awesome. Sounds like a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'll put it up on YouTube at some point. I've got a whole playlist of my my appearances on other shows. So
nice.
So yeah. And then I went to Jacksonville recently to visit a friend who's moving to South Korea, and so I got to say hi to him, hang out. We had a party, and yeah, it was really fun. We had a really nice time. Sort of rounding out, even though it was 2020 already, we sort of felt we were rounding out the year or the decade with that, because there were some really old friends. Yeah, and I had a delightful time. We hope all of you had a great holiday weeks. We've been gone for quite a while.
Yeah.
I think our first stream was Shenanigans. That was our first stream of the year.
Yep.
Which, what a fucking way to start off the year. Tessa, we know you're here. You did beautifully. You broke all of our hearts. I'm sure your heart was a little shattered too. But as has been mentioned in our Discord server, which if you aren't a part of, please go jump into our Discord. And on Twitter as well, it has been mentioned that last night was a really good example of the caliber of players and audience that we have cultivated around Shenanigans. Not in my opinion because of the drama, but because of the aftercare that happened following it. You could really tell that everybody understood Bleed and understood taking care of each other after something very powerful and very impactful happens in game. It was a very safe place for something very, very traumatic to happen. I felt, even though, yes, as Tessa says, emotionally hungover, I feel that, but I'm just really energized now, despite that it just felt like a really good group moment. So yeah. Bravo, Logan, you definitely 100% contributed to that as well.
Good to know. Good to know I had some sort of influence over the
yeah. How does it feel being another terrible parent?
It's funny. I don't know where that comes from. I mean, I think it comes from a lot of growing up with Disney. Terrible parents is kind of a very big trope. And it's an easy knife to kind of twist.
It's not like, I always see it's always like terrible step parents, and there's it's a sad sort of demonization of biological parenthood or non-biological parenthood to have like wicked stepmother.
Yeah, it's true. Are there terrible actual biological parents?
I'm thinking like the only bad parents I know of are like Snow White, Tangled, Cinderella, and those are all
Tangled wasn't biological, was it?
Right. I'm saying the only bad parents I can think of are those, and those are not biological parents. So yeah, it's sort of shitty. I kind of like this turnabout's fair play that, biological parents can be shitty too.
Absolutely.
And there's something to be said about the idea of exploring found family not in a I'm alone, everyone's dead
Yeah,
way. It's a I actively choose to reject something and go towards something
which
else.
I think that speaks very highly to my past. Found family has always been way more important to me than any of my blood family. And I didn't have necessarily a negative experience in life. I was actually spoiled rotten as a child, but my mom brought it up again this last Christmas. But I agree with her 100%. That I had way too much handed to me, very privileged. And I had some issues with my father, and he left when I was 17 or 16 or so. And I cut him out of my life for a very long time because he had done some pretty not nice things to my mother. So cutting out family, but even my mom, there's a lot of times when I look back and go, you know, she wasn't perfect, and what parent is?
Yeah.
But I look back and I look at the family that I found, and at different points, and it's funny because I used to believe that I had my small circle of friends, and that was going to be it for the rest of my life. And when that you know finally kind of fell apart after 15 years, it was devastating. I mean, I lost myself for a year at least after that. And it wasn't until we started doing Nerdsmith that it really started to all kind of come back together, that I
No,
realized,
I
oh, I can get
100% understand what
newfound family. There's people now that I consider closer than I actually ever did my previous family, which was really crazy. And so I think found family is it's something that it circles around a lot of my stories, because
yeah.
I always think of adventuring groups as a family. I don't think of them as and they don't start that way,
Just
but
coworkers.
yeah, they're not just coworkers. It's we joke a lot about like the Might Club, where you go and you fight monsters or whatever, and these gladiator rings, and you go and you team up and whatever. But in the end, I always prefer to think of the people you're adventuring with as people you're going to become very close with, at least for the most part, at
Sure.
least some of them. And found family is a huge factor in that.
It takes a kind of certain person to want to go out and risk their life doing dangerous, stupid shit. It's why in a lot of D&D or a lot of RPG world building, that's not common. You stand out because you are, well, there's lots of reasons. You're reckless, you've got nothing to lose, you're fighting for something specific that drives you. It takes a certain kind of person to want to do that, and a lot of those people are broken in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Not say, and then a lot of people aren't. They're just like, nope, this is fun. I want to do that. But for a lot of people who build characters, they find that drama can be found in interpersonal strife and challenges. So
Yep.
I'm certainly one of those people. I forgot to talk to you before show. We'll talk after show
Hmm.
about my next Goonies character. One of the things we Logan's been doing a beautiful job. If you haven't heard, we are wrapping up campaign 1 of Shenanigans very soon. We only have a few more episodes left, so please tune in. I'm
2 to
sure it'll
3.
be a time. We have had testimonials of people who jump in midstream and still are very engrossed. So you might have a good time if you check us out for the next 3 episodes. But we're going to be starting campaign 2 very soon. And so we are currently doing our brainstorming and planning and stuff. And that includes doing our sort of session 0 pre stuff, our lines and veils, kind of doing a reset, making sure everybody is clear about what they're comfortable with. And then we're also building, like, if we have any quirks or secrets that we want to build into our characters, we're also telling Logan those things. So I can talk to you after stream, because I do have a couple. I think I have at least one thing to mention for my character.
Very
I'm
cool.
very excited about her.
I like one of the things that I noticed. I've always had a very particular look and feel for art that I've wanted on my streams, and I think that's not going to change. But I think that
Rachel.
what has Rachel's a big one. I mean, there's a lot out there, but Rachel is the one that
Talonier is amazing.
Yeah.
Her art is absolutely beautiful.
That is here, and that we know, and that we can get a hold of, and convince to do amazing things for us. But one of the things that I've kind of changed a little bit is I really more wanted the expression. I wanted to see expression in the characters because I look at a lot of the art on a lot of these streams, and every one of the characters is doing a very simple, like almost a mugshot. It's like they might be smiling a little or whatever. I wanted to see some real big expressions. So I was looking for artists on Twitter because we're at that time where we need one. If you know one, let us know. And there was this one that did very Steven Universe style art, and every one of the characters had this huge, beautiful expression, and you could see their personality in it. And it made me think back to one of the podcasts I absolutely loved, which was Fate and the Fable Maidens. And right at the beginning, the character, I believe it was Merryweather, the first episode, you grab onto the personality, and it's exactly the type of personality I love in a story. It's like very similar to Pinkie Pie from My Little Pony.
My Little Pony.
And just the over the top, just bubbly, friendly personality. But it just made me think that, I want not only for people to hear and get those quirks, those personalities very quickly in our game, but also I want that expression to be seen in the art, and I want that to kind of be shown. So that's something that I've kind of changed up a little bit, and I want each character to be unique. I don't just want to see 5 or 6, I guess, generic adventurers, standing there with their weapons and whatever. I want to see their personality. So that's something that we changed up a little bit.
I'm very excited.
I didn't ask you guys for references of what your characters look like initially. What I asked you to do was I asked you to go find a cartoon character that shows an expression that is similar to how your character just on average, their average demeanor. And that was very telling and very exciting to kind of see.
Yeah, no, I'm super jazzed seeing all the variation. We again have a really great mix of people and character types in this one. I'm super excited about season 2. With everything that we've learned, things that we've started and dropped off and tried and failed and succeeded, and all the other things we've tried over the last 2 years of playing Shenanigans, it's been a ride, and I'm so excited to try another go at it. It's gonna be a good time.
And I'm excited to start the campaign while streaming.
Yeah.
The last campaign, we started as a podcast, and it just became way too much work. I don't know if we're planning on continuing it as a podcast after this.
I got a little off track last year. I'm gonna pick it back up again. I got caught because we lost a recap episode, and I still have to finish writing it because I don't remember quite what happened. I should just go back and I can't go back and listen because we lost the episode.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna make it really brief. I just got to get back in the headspace. Maybe I will recruit somebody to help me out.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll start releasing them just to finish the campaign, I think. If that's okay.
I think finishing the campaign's good. I don't really, going forward, I'm going to be using maps a little bit in the next one. We'll have a battle map option, and
okay, cool.
So there's going to be some visuals that I don't know they're going to translate well, but and I don't know. People can always listen to YouTube, as opposed to listen to it as a podcast, but yeah, so it's gonna be interesting. I think it'll be nice to keep it as a stream, and I'm excited about our bonus content that we're creating for it. Kyle is working on that, the Puppies of Mystery show, the first one.
God, we broke it wide open too. We didn't quite know what we were doing. We're like, yeah, we'll do Puppies of Mystery somehow. We'll figure it out. And then we finally figured out what we were gonna do, and I'm so happy.
It's gonna be really good.
It's a fun little gimmick, and I think it'll be very good.
I think it's gonna come across really good. So we'll have the first one of those up by the end of the month over on our Patreon. So you have to be a Patreon subscriber, $5 or higher to get that. And at that level you get access to all of the bonus content from all the shows. So we'll have bonus content coming from a lot of our shows coming soon, and we've got a little restructuring coming in Nerdsmith over this month, and the next couple of months we'll be talking about, and we'll be bringing on some new shows, and we're going to be starting some new shows, and continuing some shows, and doing all sorts of great things. I am
keep
very
an
excited.
eye out.
So, but we've got Shenanigans season 2 starting. I have another campaign that I want to run probably on the weekends. It'll be like a early Saturday campaign that probably won't start for a few months. I want to make sure that we do everything right for it, and I don't want to start around the same time we're starting Shenanigans. I need some space.
Yeah.
But I'm very excited about that. Obscura will be coming back for season 2, I believe. So that's very exciting. What else? Chaotic Goodness.
Yeah. In Vain will be starting a season 2 very soon.
In Vain is starting in season 2, and that Tessa is taking over DMing. It's going to be a new game, a new campaign. It'll be I believe you know what? I'm not going to say because I don't know if we're supposed to say or not. So, wait, they've done a casting call already, haven't they?
I'll still keep it under wraps until they're ready to announce.
All right.
So yeah. Oh, we can say. Okay.
All right. It is a Victorian Wild West werewolf campaign.
Oh, is it just a werewolf, not
Werewolf
vampire?
Wild West is a style of
not werewolf.
Not werewolf?
No, vampire.
You said Werewolf Wild West, not werewolf. Sorry, I lied.
No, it's Victorian Wild West is what she said. I remember that part.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, super exciting. I am
no werewolves, I guess. Then I'm not excited. I don't care anymore.
She was asking for the werewolf book for another reason.
Oh, okay, got it. So he's a Victorian vampire. I guess In Vain makes sense. But yeah. There are werewolves. Okay.
There are werewolves.
Got it.
Gotcha. So yeah, we and
that means their new cast. They're going to be bringing in a new player. I believe they put out a casting call for that.
Some new blood. So yeah, we're doing that. We've got like I said, Discover RPG is going to be. We've talked a little bit about the idea. We put out one very short video last year based on our topics that we've dug up during our stream, and I still have that gigantic list of all the topics we wanted to explore, and I want to make sure everything gets nailed down before I make any official announcements, but I have cultivated a small team, and we're going to be trying to put out the little videos in a more regular spacing, and yeah, that should be a lot of fun. I have gotten a couple of writing partners that hopefully will help me get over the hump of a couple of projects, including the audio drama that must not be named because it's only ever been a pilot. But we'll see how this year goes. I'm feeling very optimistic about trying to use my time effectively. It's magical what good mental health and self-care can do for your ability to be enthusiastic. So yeah, I'm working on a bunch of little projects. Let's see, outside of Nerdsmith, I'm working on Packless Patrons. We're getting back in the swing of that again. We took a holiday break. We just got a bunch of character designs that I'm really, really excited about. We're nailing down our final character designs so we can start working on the art. I got commissioned to write a theme song for a new project, for someone else's project. I am still plugging away at that. It's challenging. I haven't written a song in a while, but I did. Andy and I just bought FL Studio, a music production software. It's way too complicated, but what I do understand about it, I can use to produce music now. And so I'm very excited.
That does something like Reaper doesn't.
It has built into it a structure for creating discrete little patterns that you can then repeat regularly and have like them loop. And there's a lot of specific, like it's a MIDI controller.
Got it.
It's got a lot of specific music production stuff that Reaper as a free software, you probably would have to get a lot of plugins and get a lot of extra stuff working.
I was gonna say it may be the type of thing that works with Reaper anyway, but it sounds like it does a lot of its own as well.
Well, I use Reaper to do my recording, and then I drag it into FL Studio. It's what my friend Zach, who I was on his stream, he's a music producer and an audiobook narrator by profession, and a DJ, and so he uses FL Studio. That's his bread and butter in terms of what programs he uses, and he highly recommended it. Andy's been recording a bunch of music and composing a bunch of music lately. And so we've he was so excited that a couple weeks ago he got me into it. He'd been wanting to show me FL Studio for a while, and I just hadn't had the headspace. But I got into it, and now I'm actually writing this music, and it's really pretty. I got a goosebump moment on a track that I'm working on, which is so exciting. I'm like, I don't think I've ever done that before, where it's like, ooh, that's a good moment. Oh, that's a good music moment. I love that. So I'm working on that. That's my project for this week because I'm supposed to get it done by the end of January. So I'm gonna be trying to plug away at that. Right now I'm in the middle of writing the whole thing in the sense of like knowing the entire chord progression. And then I know how the song goes, and then I can start making it fancy. And then writing lyrics because I haven't done that really yet. But yeah, I'm super excited. When I have more information about it, I will put it out. I don't want to overly explain it, but the actual thing itself, I can probably name check because it was a Kickstarter.
Okay.
It was called To Belong. It was it's an animation project by Rusa Carlson. And she's amazing. I followed her for a very long time. She got a bit of a claim to fame on Tumblr with her animation edits, like her, whatever you'd call photoshopping, but with animation of Disney characters as mermaids. And like putting different animated characters into scenes together with like After Effects and stuff. She's very, very talented, but this is a completely original work that she's doing, and I am working on the theme song for said thing. She came to me, which was the biggest ego boost ever. She said she liked my Critical Role music and had listened to some of my covers and a particular cover I had done. She's like, I'd love to have something that sounds like this. And so yeah, I got a paid commission to work on music, and I'm very excited. Yeah, because I never felt like I could do music because I only have so many instruments. I only have like a uke. I don't have an orchestra. I don't have my keyboard was sort of there. But what's nice about FL Studio is I can compose music on a digital keyboard on there. I can play around with it. I can actually like make MIDI music, but it sounds pretty good. And yeah, so I'm like doing that. That's like a thing.
And you can always go and buy nicer MIDI instruments too.
Yes, I could really invest in
expensive ones as you go. But
I'm
very excited to hear what you come up with.
Yeah, there's like a piano, pretty. It's like a hand piano that sounds really nice.
Perfect. That's great.
My biggest thing is orchestras. Strings are really challenging to sound good in MIDI, and you gotta get some good strings to play around with.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I've been getting really into that. This is going to sound terrible. I started getting back into listening to podcasts. I hadn't been listening to podcasts in a very long time. In a shamefully long time. So what podcasts are you listening to? I am listening to Song Exploder right now.
I've wanted to listen to that one a lot. I just haven't had the time.
One of my favorite songs of 2019 was on there, and it got me back into listening to Sound Exploder. Cool. Raleigh Ritchie, who, if you've seen Game of Thrones, played Grey Worm. Is that his name? He's one of the Unsullied. He was the head of the Unsullied warrior guys. He was pretty main character by the end.
Was it season 1?
No.
Then I didn't see it.
It was like season 3. But anyway, this actor, he's also a musician. He's a rapper. He's really, really talented. And his song Time in a Tree is all about his anxiety and like growing up with it. And it's so good. And then they did it in Sound Exploder, and it made me so happy because I finally got to listen to some stuff. There's some pieces in that song. There's some strings that like really like swell, and it's so pretty. And they actually played the orchestra piece by itself. I was like, oh, I'm so happy I get to hear this isolated. That's one of my biggest things about Song Exploder is how they isolate the tracks, and you can listen to things very specifically if they have the masters. So yeah, Song Exploder is one. I've been listening to Attitude, which is an ADHD webinar series that they turn into podcasts.
Okay.
That one's been very interesting. I got officially last year, and so I've been doing a lot of research, and so this particular podcast has been very interesting They do episodes about like productivity and episodes about marriage and relationships, which was very valuable. Things like that. So doing a lot of re-experiencing podcasts in some different genres. Started listening to Night Vale. They claim you can jump in wherever. So we started on the Cat Show.
As somebody who started listening at the beginning and it makes no sense then, you can start anywhere.
Yeah, there's one where they're on a cat show. There's a cat show at the radio station, and the host of the show is so excited to put his cat in the show. They had the show at the radio station because his cat is his cat exists in a quantum fixed point in the middle of the men's bathroom, and so they brought the cat show to the radio station. And he's like, and they have them in different categories, like long hair, short hair, and miscellaneous. And so I'm not really sure where to put him because, he's got this really cute fuzzy hair, and his tentacles are very well kept. It's just like, wait, what? It's very good. So yeah, Night Vale was one that I started listening to a little bit. So yeah, I am working currently on a new bonus content for our Patreon. Working on a short campaign that I've run a few episodes already. It's called Emberwild. I think I've talked about it a little bit here on the show. That it's a electric fantasy. It's sort of a very open-ended genre, just whatever fits your imagination. It feels a little adventure timey in terms of the kinds of stuff you can have. Physics be damned, just make it cool. And so I'm running that right now, and I'm working on the next episode plan. So Tess is in that game though, so I'm going to keep it close to the chest. But I have been building a character who I'm very excited about. I inadvertently created entire new fantasy race of people, and I'm very excited about them. I can talk a little bit about it. Logan, I started wanting to make sort of drow-esque characters.
Okay.
Underground civilization, except I really like the idea of a civilization living underground that is completely devoid of sunlight, therefore their skin is almost translucent. Rather than dark gray. And I just started watching this YouTube channel about animals, and I watched all this stuff about porcupines and how their teeth keep growing like rodents, and I went, what if you had like half orcs and that's what their teeth did? So I'm gonna have like kind of half orc inspired. They're a mix between what I'm calling them, like deep folk, I think.
Sure.
They're like a mix between drow, but their skin is very translucent. They come in all big buff or like skinny and whatever. There's a full range of physicality, and they have top and bottom teeth, and they grow. They just keep growing, so they're constantly chewing on stuff, or they're refining them over time and things like that. And I'm dealing with some like bioluminescent stuff, so I think like their eyes might glow a little bit, or they use paint to like paint things on their face, or they travel in groups and use very strategic paint so that they look like a large creature in the darkness where this bioluminescent is reflecting. So I'm playing around with this like really neat sort of underground club scene for this group of people that live in the underground. So I'm very excited about building them a little bit more.
I love that. I've been watching a lot of QI lately, and I just subscribed to BritBox on Amazon. Nice. And there's a lot of things I learned about animals that I really never knew. One of the things, like meerkats are total little assholes.
Yeah.
The meerkat, when they come to a road, they've learned about roads. And to test the roads, the meerkats will send their children across first. And if their children survive, they will then go. And I was like, what? It's horrible. And they fight. The mothers, it's a matriarchal society. The mothers, they fight each other by eating the young of their opponents. And I was like, holy crap. Another one that really got me, which was one of my favorite things, was, well, there's two things.
You took my road testers.
There's so many, yeah. There's so many good ones. They had a little jumping spider. Of course, I
Mhm.
love jumping spiders. It's the only spider that I totally adore and would actually love to get like pet. And this one was a vegetarian. It only ate
Hmm.
fruit, and I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" Now, evidently, it is a to survive, it will eat meat, but it really, if it has a
Sure.
preference, it will only choose fruits. And then the other one that really got me, which was amazing, was there's a type of snail. No, normally snails are defensive. They go into their shells when they're under stress or attack.
Sure.
This is an offensive snail, which is able to use its shell, and it twists it 180 degrees to thwack things with it, and it was the
Oh
most
my
amazing
god.
thing ever. And
Now
I'm
that's
going,
a flail
I would
snail.
love to see exactly. I'm like the flail snail, in my opinion, has absolutely changed, and it can
Oh
twist its
my
shell
god.
all the way around. And I was just shocked. I had no idea that was even possible. It was
That's
amazing to see.
awesome.
I'm thinking a giant snail, a large size snail doing that would just be the worst thing ever. You think, oh, get up
And
on the
completely
side, and
unexpected the first time.
just
Yeah.
is huge. And I was just so yeah, I've been getting a lot of neat ideas from these ideas, but I would love to come across a giant spider. You find out, oh, it only eats fruits. It's like, oh, okay, I guess. It's like we don't have to
Yeah,
go
no, that's
anything,
great. Um,
so yeah, I get a lot of
so
the
yeah.
real world has a lot of really crazy things. One of the things was there's a what's called the crab eater seal,
Mhm.
which doesn't eat crab, and it has teeth that grow and look like Christmas trees. They have branches that come
Oh,
off,
okay.
and
Interesting.
it turns out that what it's for is to filter. It only eats krill, and so it actually closes its mouth and swims through the water and lets the krill swim into its water and filters out with these branched teeth, which look horrifying. I mean, they look like they're designed to catch fish, but it really is just designed to filter out anything too large for a teeth.
Oh, those are cool.
Is it called the crab eater seal? I believe that was it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They look kind of houndstoothy. They're like very twisty. That's
Uh,
interesting. Um. Uh.
yeah.
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 Right.
Yeah. Exactly.
Uh. That's very cool. Last thing. This is just for Tessa.
I guess they look more like
Um.
ropers.
Sure. So just for you, Tessa. One of the other aspects of the deep folk is a cultural touchstone that their choice of which teeth to maintain is very dependent on what they choose to do with their lives. So they can have these like upper fangs, or they can have these lower jaw ones if they want. But there is a common tradition among folks that if they don't have any visible teeth currently, they're not single. So I was very amused by myself.
That's funny.
So yeah, I just very much enjoyed that. The Yeah, thank you, Tessa. So yeah, I'm just excited about the deep folk. I'm gonna play around with them a little bit more. I'm jazzed. Like I said, I'm building them in Emberwild, so I'm not really designing them like a D&D race, but I just very much enjoyed the fact that my options were kind of limitless. I could just do whatever I wanted with them. So I'm thinking very hard about designing this cool underground kind of pseudo clubbing deep folk. And clubbing in the sense of like I'm really playing into the blacklight stuff and what photo bioluminescent stuff and whatever the difference between blacklight and bioluminescent, like the stuff that is affected by blacklight. For that.
Well,
But
I
yeah.
am going to be raving about your clubbing.
Mm. Mm-hmm. That's funny. That's good stuff.
Thanks.
What else has been going on?
I don't
I
know.
mean, we've been
It's
on
been
break for so
vacation.
long.
We've been on vacation. We're still working on getting the store up and running. That's going to be coming hopefully this
Yes.
month. Still working on getting the last details for that.
I think the biggest thing, if I don't know if we had announced this during Discover last month, but I think we had found out
Last
about
decade.
yeah, I think we'd found out about Anaheim after the last episode.
That's true. We have a table at WonderCon.
Nerdsmith will have an official presence at WonderCon 2020 in Anaheim on the week of April 10th. The weekend of April 10th.
I think it's Easter weekend.
It's my birthday weekend.
Are you
anyway,
Jesus? No, Jesus wasn't born on Easter. That's right. He just came back.
I'm not Jesus, but I was born in Bethlehem and did move to Nazareth when I was a child.
All right.
So, pretty close. Also, when I was in high school, I drew a self-portrait and we had to segment ourselves based on parts of our faces, and mine turned out looking like Jesus.
All right.
I have a very specific cleft right here, and it just made I was like, oh, okay, that's Perfect. What happened. But yeah, so we will be at WonderCon. We will have a table. We will be there. We will let you know when we have things a little bit more locked down. There is no point in telling you where our table is right now.
911.
Who knows if that might change? But who knows if that'll change?
Maybe. It's booth 911.
So 911. If in an emergency, come to the Nerdsmith table.
Don't come to us in an emergency.
But yeah, so I still am voting for a small con crud station at our table with hand sanitizer and
I always have hand sanitizer
and Nerdsmith branded cough masks. But yeah, so we're currently in the middle of figuring out what our table at WonderCon is gonna be. If you're gonna be there or you have any thoughts about what you'd like to see at a Nerdsmith table, please let us know. We'd love to hear from the people that actually would be engaging with our table.
Yeah, absolutely. Let us know what you might think, or even if you won't be there, just let us know what you like at conventions from networks like ours. One of the things I'm hoping to have is some at least some meet and greets with some of our cast. I know Champions of the Earth are down there. I'm hoping that we can get maybe Colin or Jackson Lansing over there for a meet and greet. That would be a great thing if we could have them for an hour, just to hang out. We'll be offering hopefully some listening stations to listen to snippets of our podcast and watch some snippets of our Twitch shows. And of course, we'll probably be doing some giveaways and a few other things.
Heck yeah.
And we will do an official after hours meet and greet, an unofficial after hours meet and greet. We won't be doing a big party like we did last year because the budget for that went to our table. So that's what we're doing this year.
Picking and choosing. We're picking our battles. But
someday we will be able to do both.
That's the goal. There's the goal.
That's the dream. Well, the dream is to be able to do tables at every convention.
Sure. So yeah, we'll be doing that.
Not every convention, but
every convention we go to.
Maybe 4 conventions a year.
Yeah.
WonderCon. I would like to do WonderCon, Rose City, just because that's become home. Gen Con and Dragon Con. Those are the 4 I would like to do.
I add PAX Unplugged to that.
One of the PAX would be nice. The
Unplugged sounded like it was amazing.
Big Bad Con down at Big Bad Con. No, Big Easy.
That's Big Easy.
Big Easy Con. Down
I'd love to go to Big Bad
Con. I don't remember where Big Bad Con is.
Big Bad Con, I don't remember where it is, but there's a very strong contingent of people that are pushing for POC representation at the con. I think they have a scholarship that they do every year to get people to go. Somebody does a scholarship every year. I think it might be DC Commander.
And then up in Emerald City Con would be nice. Yeah, we'd love to go to all these places. We'd love to go to all of them.
Yep. So we've gone official, guys. We have a table at a major con. It's our first table. Way to aim big. And we went to one of the biggest cons
with our first table. But we've done some panels here and there, and of course we will be submitting some panels for this convention as well. I don't know what we're going to be offering yet, but hopefully we'll get approved for 1 or 2 panels that we'll be able to do as well. So yeah, that's where that's at. So
we just bought our plane tickets for Anaheim, so we're locked in.
Cool. You guys have your room. Tess and I are working getting our room as soon as because we're gonna be at the host hotel as soon as the rooms for the vendors unlock. We'll be doing that, and then so we'll be there, and you guys have you guys will have a house very nearby.
Heck yeah, the Nerdsmith
full with Nerdsmith people. And then we'll have our table there and all sorts of good and fun stuff.
Crammed, more
So,
like blessed.
You can always come by and say hi to us there, hang out, and then
Not the house, but at the
at the con, and then we'll do some after hours hangouts at the bar at the host hotel.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm super excited. I think this year. Okay, so I'm not gonna say it feels like we have our shit together, but this year it feels like we're refining goals. We're figuring out what's most important, what we want to focus on. I'm hoping to hit the ground running and keep.
It's
making
already
cool
the 8th,
stuff.
and I've done basically nothing because I've been dead.
Well, you've been ill, yeah. I've been planning
I missed the hit the
D&D
ground
crafting.
running.
I've been making roof tiles.
Actually,
for
that's not true. I've worked a lot on
project.
Shenanigans season 2. I've been
You
very
have.
impressed with that. We've got my green screen coming, so that means I think everyone will have their green screen at this point except Heather.
Ren might need one.
Ren
I don't know if
was
they
getting
do.
one.
Oh, okay.
But Ren talked about getting one. I'm not sure if they have theirs or not yet, but they are getting one.
I'll check in.
Yeah, the Ren just got back from vacation. Ren is actually starting. That's what we should talk about. Ren is starting to build up their Twitch channel. I can't remember the name of it. If we can find out real quick, but it is they are starting a talk show where they bring on LARPers, live action role players, and they interview them and talk about LARPing. And I was very, very excited to hear about the show because I used to do live action role play. It was one of my favorite things. They do a very different style than I did. I did a lot of edgelordy World of Darkness teenage stuff. And they do a lot of the more adult fantasy style, make-believe, that's it. And yeah, it is, I'm very excited to see, because I think they're going to do a fantastic job with that. And we will definitely be hosting them here as we can. I think they overlap with a couple of our shows, unfortunately, but yeah, we're very, very excited to have them here. And who knows, maybe they'll be a friend of the network, affiliate, associate, whatever we're calling it.
I mean, already an unofficial friend of the network.
Ren is going to be a creator on the network, but their
channel
might be. So we'll see on that.
Yeah. We've got a bunch of applications for other shows, and we're going to be looking at them too. And tonight they start. Ren's starting their first campaign.
Yes, sorry, I forgot about that.
So keep an eye out, please. Please follow Ren on Twitch, or on Twitter rather. And I'm sure they'll send out things when they start. At Atomic Firebird, all one word. They are a fabulous person. So yeah, we have a lot to unpack mentally and business-wise, I think. So there's going to be a lot going on that is upcoming announcements.
Yeah.
But I'm excited about this week. I'm excited about this year. I think this year's going to be an adventure.
Haven't they all been?
They have. It will continue to be so.
I think this one is going to be more. I think we're going to see a lot more success this year. I really do. I think
what
for the amount of work for money right now, but for engagement, community growing, because I think that we have cast off the. We've learned what is unattainable, and we've cast off those unattainable goals that we had before. The things that
sure.
that with we built this city on rock and roll. We built this
beyond that.
We built this around concepts and ideas that we didn't fully understand. Nerdsmith, the core concept of Nerdsmith originally is very different than what it will be in 2020. And that's okay. It was about growing and learning. We basically gave ourselves a crash course in running a network. We threw ourselves into it using a model that we didn't have the right structure to support. We built it on a model from another network who had celebrity people involved from the get-go. They had money from the get-go. And it didn't quite work. And we learned and we adjusted. Maybe not as fast as we should have, but that's okay because we stuck with it. We're persistent. And now I think we're in a position where we're starting to understand what we need to do And like I said, I just think we're going to see more growth, more engagement, and we're going to be focusing on the things that matter as opposed to spending a lot of time on things that we had hoped would let us succeed, but really weren't helping us much at all. It's just a learning experience. Everything is a learning experience. Everything is about persistence. You know, I read a post the other day from just last night, actually, around 3 a.m. I was up and I was on Twitter, and it was somebody who had about 6,000 followers. And he said, here's a thread about, it was 2 posts. It was funny because it was like a thread, 2 posts. And it was a thread. It started with, I used to put a lot of content out there, and people, nobody engaged with me, nobody followed me, and I go back a year or two and I show the people now what I said then, and they love it. They think it's amazing content. So just because nobody's engaging with your content doesn't mean that you're not putting out good content. It just means that your audience hasn't found you yet. And it's about persistence, and it's about consistency,
and doing something you enjoy.
Doing something you enjoy, so you'll want to keep doing it. And that's a big part of what it is, because over the past few years, I've done a lot of things I haven't enjoyed because I've thought it was what was necessary. And now I'm realizing it's the things that I enjoy that are the necessary part of this thing. That's why you see me on a lot less shows, unfortunately. It's just because I just don't have the time and the effort to kind of struggle and push through those things. But you're going to see more community events this year. You're going to see more community streams this year. Our Discord is going to be exploding, so come and join us there. We're
just going to work smarter.
And we're going to work smarter.
In general.
Work smarter, not harder. Thanks, Scrooge McDuck. And keep your first dime, which I've still got to find. I'm sure it's at the bank somewhere.
They kept that specific one. You gave them like the serial number.
I put it in a lockbox.
You microchipped it. All right, we've pushed our power hour to a minute. Thank you all so much for joining us. We will hopefully have slightly more, let's call it structure, but let's call it like topics rather than just catching up with what we haven't been doing for 3 weeks. So we will see you all next week, same time, same place, Wednesdays at noon PST, 3 p.m. Eastern, here on Twitch. Please tell us if you want to hear us talk about anything. If you have any specific questions, we got a really cool number of questions from previous listeners or previous watchers, and we're going to start following up with those soon. So, yeah, you guys are awesome. We're so happy to have you here. We're so happy that you stick around, and we will see you next week, and I'm so excited for what 2020 has in store for us. So please have a wonderful rest of your week, and do us a favor and be good to each other. Goodbye.
Bye. I just pushed the button now.